Good morning. How are you? Oof. Hope the Mother's Day weekend here in the US was enjoyable. Honoring whatever is nurturing, whatever is a source of nurturing, whatever has nurtured you, nurturing those parts of ourselves that have brought us, embracing all of those parts of ourselves that brought us to this day. God hates nothing he made. I can't remember I think it's a psalm. Could be a psalm. Anyway, look that one up. So we must nurture and care for all the various parts of us, right? We do that, we embrace and welcome everything that is here, and we're a lot better at taking in everything that's there, right? And receiving one another, beholding one another. We beholding one another. We can hold that. We beholding. We're going to use the Tarot of the Cat People today by Kuykendall. It's my pleasure to be here for you on Monday, May 11th. My name is Lisa Maxwell, and this will be a reading for the collective. One card already coming out, the Hanged Man. Major Arcana card. So this is a major kind of stopping and accepting, yes. Taking the time to accept, to kind of look at things from a different perspective, upside down. Look at things from, oh, over here, an attitude of curiosity while we kind of hang and enjoy things, enjoy the new look. Things maybe might not be fully pulled together, but you can tell that things have changed. It's time to take a look again, like look at everything that has come in, like really take that in, but in a different way, in a very quiet, still way. This guy can't be, twisting and carrying on and being like super anxious about getting out of this situation, because he's got a cat there on his foot. So he's also got to be careful of this this sweet creature that's napping. The cat's encouraging the pause. The pause. Hangman is the sign of Pisces. I think the moon is in Pisces now, or has been. I didn't check the charts before I came on. I was working on my physical therapy exercise. You know what? Hanging upside down might not be a bad idea for my back. Ooh, started physical therapy, and the shifts are changed. I actually have had to even scale back from what I've been doing to and take my time even more to get a little more information about what's going on, how I should proceed. This is all stuff. This is the 12th card of the Major Arcana. So 2 is feeling our feelings. 1 is feeling the heart desires, netting to a 3, which is, and then like seeing how that kind of goes. Are we acting in are we aligning with our belief systems? Do our belief systems possibly need to change a little bit? What do I believe? And that's curiosity. Number 3 is this number of Jupiter, and that's higher philosophy, higher wisdom. Expanding. Jupiter is still in the sign of Cancer. I think it's moved off the 18th degree at this point. But again, it's like, what are your feelings showing you? But again, feelings are not facts. Here's another card coming up. The Moon, another Major Arcana. So this is the emotional field. This is the card of Cancer, emotional intelligence. So as I'm talking about Jupiter being in Cancer, this is the card that comes up. Again, the feelings are not facts, they are our feelings, and they have a lot of information. They're not facts, and they aren't the whole picture. When you are, I like how this figure is in a very listening, kind of posture. When you're navigating the dark, which tends to be the emotional field, like, our emotions are a reflection of what our heart's trying to tell us, but it may give us like bits here and bits here. So it's important to listen carefully to how we feel in all of our endeavors and all of our moving forwards. Yeah, taking our time, um, and listening more than we are speaking. Because if you're like talking a lot in the dark, someone's going to hear you, right? So you can't really, if you're trying to get around, you've got to listen to what's, so to kind of even know what's going on. Looking at the stars, I'm thinking about navigating, looking at the stars to navigate. These are two major arcana, so these are major themes about definitely taking our time. He's also navigating a pretty tricky terrain, right? But taking the information of the feelings, how do I feel about this? So if you're looking at, how do I actually feel about this, and sitting with that long enough to learn what we need to learn, and to also take in other information that will give us the guidance that we need. That's intuition, right? '18th card. So Jupiter may still be at the 18th degree of Cancer. 18 would net to a 9, which is a number of action. So before we, the 8 plus the 1, and that 8 brings in commitment, right? 8 is the commitment number, commitments of the heart that we act upon. But if we're only acting on our feelings and what our feelings are telling us, and not taking in into consideration, and including that in what we're including, the feelings that are being shared with us, sometimes things that are very delicate, right, can only be spoken of in a dark situation, like in the dark. Sometimes, the secrets that people share, sometimes they feel comfortable being, in darkness rather than a bright light. So that's when things start to kind of come to light, and we can start to learn about things. Learn more was something I saw on the back of my jar of body cream earlier while I was getting ready. Learn more. How are we going to learn more? Only if we're listening. Only if we're coming into situations knowing we don't know everything. We might need to look at things differently. Consider how we feel, how other people feel. Stop, look, and listen. Stop, look, listen. Card of Cancer is also very nurturing. The sign of Cancer, excuse me. The moon is the ruler of Cancer. That's why that card is considered. And so the moon is the card. What are our feelings telling us? How are our feelings guiding us? And we need to take our time with that. Am I anxious? Oh, I am. Am I need to ask this question, but I feel really worried about what the answer might be. It's good to know that. And then the 7 of Swords is coming up as well. So this is using our communication. If we're using the 7, if we're drawing in the 7, we're drawing in spirit rather than, and utilizing the 6 swords. So one thing I didn't mention when this card came up fairly recently in another reading was that, again, this person has 6 swords at its disposal. The 6 is the number of receiving. But all of those swords are pointed down. So it says that it suggests that, we would need to actively, work with all of the swords, not just the one, and not just our way of doing things. Like, let me look up, let me look at spirit, let me pull in Holy Spirit, whatever your higher wisdom is. Swords would be, our thinking, our logic, our communication. It's air element. Adding breath. Focus on the breathing, receive your breath. And, as we breathe and we take the time to breathe, we are able to kind of draw in more. And we are literally drawing in more, but we're also supporting our own system. And we're providing more oxygen to our entire body and our brain, which opens up and creates some space. When things are uncertain, when we don't know what's going on, when it's kind of like we feel like maybe going through the dark, this is, we've got to take those six up. We need all of the swords, not just the one, in order to, I like how this person's not like escaping. They just kind of, they kind of are escaping. They're like, what are the escape tactics that you use, right? They could be anything. They could be too much social media. It could be listening to multiple tarot readings or whatever. Get the divine wisdom that you need from what you have your own relationship with your own higher power, and to engage in that in a way that helps us be steady in this uncertain and needing. Both of these signs are the Hangman is the card of Pisces, and the Moon is the card of Cancer. Both water signs, very intuitive. So we need to engage in spirit and engage in those practices that help us not just use one sword, not just our own knowledge, our own wisdom, which is important, but also to see that there's other points of view. I'm going to leave it at that. Like, share, subscribe on any of the platforms where this will be posted: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This is a reading for the collective. Share it to anyone who you think might need to hear it. Doesn't have to be a particular day. I set the date because whatever. But you can directly share it with anyone who you think needs to hear it. And if you want your own private message, just direct message me on any of those platforms and we can work something out. All right? Have a great day.